I am psyched for today because we are going to talk about something we have not discussed in a while, and that is accommodations while on the road.
Well, we have discussed it and how we don't like staying at Airbnbs. So today is the perfect episode because we have an Airbnb expert on our show.
We do. We're excited. Stacee has been following us since the beginning. Let's jump in.
All right, let's go.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey listeners, ever wonder what it would be like to blow up your comfort zone at the tender age of 50? Well, we did just that. When our last kid went off to college, we hit the road in search of a new hometown. Now we bounce from city to city and bring you along for the ride. This is the Skip Town All-Stars podcast.
What's up, All-Stars? Welcome back to another episode of Skip Town. We are delighted to be with you today. Before we get any further, please like, subscribe, hit all those buttons that you do so well on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course our YouTube channel, youtube.com // at Skip Town All-Stars. Please join us. How are we doing today, Denise Gordon?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited about this episode. We have been wanting to talk to Stacee Evans since episode 10.
Mm-hmm.
Stacee is a listener who has been following us from the very, very beginning.
She's OG.
She is. I call her OG all the time.
Yeah.
And she does many things. But one of the things that Stacee does is she owns Airbnbs, and I call her my Airbnb expert. So we thought it would be perfect to have her on the show and discuss all things Airbnb.
So without further ado, producer Phil, how are you today?
Hello and welcome. I'm happy to be here. I have some questions regarding Airbnbs too. And by the way, Airbnbs is a white people thing. Just to let you know. So.
Wait, how? How?
Because black folks don't do it?
Wait, what don't you like about it? Why don't black people do it?
We do not like staying at other people's houses.
You don't?
No.
Even if they're family? Especially if they're family.
But that's not an Airbnb.
I know.
No, we don't like staying at families' houses either.
You don't?
No.
Okay, I was trying to see if it's a general aversion to other people's houses or specifically to strangers' houses.
Especially strangers' houses, especially white strangers.
Wait. So you think that most Airbnb owners are white?
Yeah, because it's not cheap to own.
Huh. Okay. So what about hotels, though? You don't mind staying in a hotel with a stranger that just slept on a bed, 8 hours before you?
Nope.
No problem with that.
Nope.
Don't want to do an Airbnb.
Don't want to do an Airbnb.
Oh, we're going to have some fun with this episode.
We are absolutely going to have some fun with this. So I say let's jump right in. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one of our OG listeners. We are so excited to have her today. This episode is long overdue. Please welcome Stacee Evans to the show. Hi, Stacee.
Hello, thanks. Hi, thank you so much for having me on. I love the way we started. That was awesome, Phil. Of course, I disagree, but it was a great way to start.
We're off and running.
Yes. Hi, Denise. Hi, James. Before we start, remember everybody like, subscribe. This podcast is awesome. Share it with all your friends.
That's amazing. No one has ever. Out of all of the 24 years of podcasts I've been doing, not one guest has ever said that on any of the shows I've ever produced. Props to you, Stacee.
The amount of work that you all put in for this and the amount of enjoyment I get out of it, it's amazing. This is not an easy thing to do. And however much work I think you're doing, it's probably tenfold. So got to share the love.
Wow. Thank you so much.
I'm like blushing. It's really hard to make me blush.
I know.
I mean, look at this crew. How can you not want to enjoy the show?
Thank you so much. That's very sweet. But we want to talk about you because, frankly, for whatever we've done, we are very impressed by what you have going on.
Well, one thing I want you to do is I want you to introduce yourself. You're not just a listener. You also you do many things. I know, like, you own Airbnbs, but you also do real estate investment. You also have a regular job, and you also you are a fosterer. Is that what you call it? A fosterer for doggies? Like, you do a million things. Today, though, we're going to talk mostly about Airbnbs, but please let everyone know who you are, where you live, all that fun stuff.
Okay, well, I'm Stacee. I live in the Los Angeles area. My day job is an insurance agent. If I told you how long I've been working for the same company, it's a little embarrassing. It's a very long time. So, because I've been there since I was maybe 23, and I still work there. I've been investing in real estate for over 25 years. Kind of happened by accident. Bought my first house. Got a couple cars stolen from there. We started a family. My husband and I were like, we can't live here, and we just saved up for our second house and rented out the first one. And now I had bought a whole bunch more along the way. If you want to invest in real estate and you have a regular job, it makes it super easy to get the loan. So I was able to just get every loan qualified because I had a regular job with income. So now I have 8 rentals. I have a lot of commercial. I have Airbnbs. I manage them. I arbitrage them, which is when you rent someone else's and then you Airbnb it. So a couple of years ago, I decided I was going to retire from my regular job because I was able to live off the income from my other investments, and I've always done max 401k.
Okay.
But I love my job. It's crazy. I sell insurance. It's in California. It's crazy challenging. I do auto and home, and it's really fun. I love talking to people and bringing them down off the ledge and having them tell me, even when I can't help them, thank you so much. You explained everything. You're so nice. You're patient. The bar's set really low. You just listen to them and help them, and they think you're a rock star. So I went to my boss's boss and I said, hey, can I work part-time? I want to work Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for 20 hours in these hours. And they're like, well, we don't have part-time. I go, I know. I thought I would try. It's okay. Well, we'll get back to you. And the next day, like, yeah, you're part-time. So I work part-time.
Great.
I love my job. And then, because I was going to relax and stop working so hard, I opened a business, which is a pet sitting business, which was great because I always wanted my own company, have employees and all that. So that's what I do. And then I love the Airbnb. I paid for a pretty expensive class. It's a year-long class on how to run and manage Airbnbs the right way, according to the person that mentors us, which has been incredible, mostly for the networking. And in fact, in a few days, I'm going to an Airbnb conference to learn more. So yeah, it's great to do Airbnbs the right way and the wrong way. And I've done both. I mean, just really quick, the way I started Airbnbs is I have a rental house, kind of a long backstory, but the way it ended up is I started renting the house out by the room, and in between tenants, we would just Airbnb the other room, and the guys in the house I'd give them some money for the cleaning fee. And they would be like, oh, this is really cool. These people come, they're engineers, they're working all day. They come back. We have a pizza. We watch the game. We hang out. They're my bros. And then sometimes they're like, yeah, they just keep to themselves. It was like, except for the one person that almost OD'd in the street and the neighbors had to get involved. All the rest of them were great. Yeah, we have a couple. We have a couple stories here. I've probably had 4 or 5. I'll use the word memorable guests. And believe it or not, 99% of the guests are amazing. I mean, we go above and beyond and do what we can.
So I want to ask you, so you mentioned earlier you have 8 properties listed with Airbnb, correct?
No, most of them are long-term rentals.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So how many properties do you have then that are Airbnb'd?
About 6.
Wow. Okay. So the way that this conversation even is coming about right now is that Stacee reached out to us and basically was like, hey, you need to stop ragging on Airbnbs.
She didn't say it that way, but yes.
I know. I own some, and mine are pretty amazing, and you should come and experience mine. And then every time we did a little like, we didn't have a good experience at an Airbnb, Stacee would comment, and I thought, and even one time Stacee said, there's a career in like going to Airbnbs and critiquing them. I see a career for you. And I thought, that's a great idea. Like if I can make a job out of that, I would do it. But not everyone is like Stacee. A lot of Airbnb owners that we've come in contact with, you can tell by their rental, they don't care what you think. They just want that money and see ya. So all of that to say, I think Stacee might be an anomaly, but she's going to a conference. So I'm sure there's hundreds, if not thousands of people maybe at this conference who are all like you, Stacee, that want to be the best at, owning an Airbnb. But I guess so you have 6 Airbnbs, and tell us like the first experience was through that house that you did room to room. And that was your very first Airbnb experience per se, correct?
That was my first experience as Right, as me from that side of it. I actually looked it up last night. I've stayed in 32 Airbnbs. And what you're saying, Denise, about these crappy Airbnbs and the people that don't care, you are 100% right. There are the bar on an Airbnb is very low. The group that I'm in, we all have amazing Airbnbs. We all care. We go above and beyond in every single way. Like if you're going to stay at my Airbnb and you want to go take a shower, you're going to have fluffy towels. They're going to be new. They're going to be, once they get worn out, we throw them away. We're not, and then most of us kind of think like me. We're not going to say like, yeah, you're staying for a week. We're going to give you 3 rolls of toilet paper. And then if you need more, you got to go to the store. I don't do any of that. There's a case of it in the side. You walk in, we have waters, we have snacks. The cleaners are like the cleaners are basically I have to bow down to my cleaners. They whatever they want to charge me, I pay them. Right now I'm averaging about $60 an hour per cleaner.
Okay.
And they're worth every penny of it. I compliment them and thank them daily because they have to be on time. They have a short window. It has to be spotless. When I say that it has to be spotless, and on top of that, either myself or someone else inspects the Airbnbs in between guests. And I'm on the floor, on the ground, behind the toilet, wiping up, making sure there's no dirt, making sure there's enough snacks, making sure every little thing is perfect. There's plenty of extra supplies. If you walk in the bathroom and you open the drawer, you're going to find razors, tampons, Band-Aids, toothbrush, toothpaste, mouthwash, sunscreen, anything that you might forget. And these items, it might cost me $20 to stock it up, and people rarely use it. But I get messages all the time like, thank you so much. We forgot a toothbrush and it was so nice and I have to go get it. Or we didn't bring sunscreen. I bring, chapstick and stuff. Or whatever area you're in, you're going to need different things. So LA, you need sunscreen. And it's not a big deal to stock it up. And then on top of that, I had somebody at my house, so the house I was telling you about with the 3 bedrooms has an ADU next to it. So I rent out the ADU as just a studio.
Wait,
And
pause. What?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like a accessory dwelling unit. I am so sorry. I hate when people do that to me.
It's like a guest house.
Oh,
It's a very common
Yes,
LA
so-
term, Phil.
okay.
Yeah. You know what? Thank you, Phil, for jumping in. So there's a house that's a 3-bedroom house. It's the same one that I Airbnb room by room. Now the guys just live there. Turned the garage into its own unit.
Yeah, so the garage is now converted into an ADU, which is a guest house.
Yeah, so it's like a single, like a studio. The garage makes a lot more money than the 3-bedroom house, like at least double for that little garage.
Wow.
But
I know
because
why.
why?
Because they can do their cocaine in there.
It's not Miami, Phil.
Oh, dang it. I forget.
They can do whatever they want in there as long as they check in and out and keep it clean. And I allow 1-night stays, which is very unusual.
Yeah.
So I had a guest. It's already clean. They just say, "Hey, want to stay for 1 night?" They messaged me. They stayed for the night. Went their next day. The next day, a guy was staying for 30 days because he was here to see his girlfriend and going to work from home. I walk in there and the air conditioner has been stolen.
Oh my god.
So we had like 3 hours to run to Home Depot, get a new air conditioner, install it. Airbnb pays for it. It's an insurance claim. It's called air cover. So they paid for it.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's the kind of
what are the premiums for that? Like, do you pay a monthly or yearly? How does that
No,
work?
it's part of it. Like when you
way.
you stay in an Airbnb and you have those Airbnb fees,
Uh-huh.
part of it covers what's called air cover. It's like insurance for them. It has $1 million.
wow. Okay.
I've made a few claims. Now, I don't really want to announce this to the world, but if anything happens at an Airbnb and there's any damage and it's like $100 or less, or they break some glasses, they ruin a towel, they put makeup, they ruin it, we let it go. It's just, that's the cost of doing business. I'm not
Sure.
going to nitpick.
Yeah.
So I don't really, it's just part of it. So if there's something big, like they stole the air conditioning, I'm going to make a claim.
How did he get away with that?
I guess they used a fake name because I called the person and I literally called them that day. I was like, "What are you doing, stealing the air conditioner?" But the phone was disconnected. It was a fraud thing.
Like, I need it. It's hot.
It's hot out. I need an air conditioner.
Yeah, but I'll do things like I had somebody call me from the studio. They sent me a message like saying, like, "Hey, do you have a blender?" And I messaged them back and be like, "I don't. That's a great idea. We're going to get one over to you." And what I'll do, if I'm in town or it's close by, I'll just go to Walmart or Target, pick one up and drop it off. And if I'm not, I'll Instacart it. Like, barely any requests I say no to. I guess there's no reason because I don't get that many requests. And if somebody asks something, wants something, thinks something is unreasonable, and even my daughter, I'm teaching her, she's my co-host, and she'll message me. She'll be like, "Oh, that person's really being a pain." I go, "No, they're not. It might be a little request to you or me. We might not think whatever they're asking is a big deal, but it's a big deal to them because they're asking for it, and we're going to help them, and we're going to go above and beyond, and we're going to do it because it doesn't take that much time or money, and it really, really goes a long way."
Well, I
to
think
do that
that
stuff.
people forget that Airbnbs, I was just saying this to my sister-in-law, Airbnbs used to be the home away from home. Like that was the whole purpose of Airbnb, that you would stay in a beautiful place that maybe you couldn't afford for yourself and you're having a really beautiful experience in this home. It wasn't even necessarily the town. It could be, and people would do Airbnbs that were just a few miles from their own home just to like experience something really nice. And it's not that anymore. And when did that change? Like, honestly, like, I think it was like, my guess is it changed in 2021. When did it change? Because I remember going to an Airbnb in 2020 during the pandemic, and it was, again, one of the most beautiful experiences we've ever had. Yeah. When do you think it changed, Stacee?
I don't think it's changed. I think it's like anything else. There's good people, good hosts, and bad hosts.
So that's what I was going to ask you. So what was your sort of first introduction to Airbnb? Was it as a guest, or was it just something that because you own these properties, you kept hearing more and more about that people were doing? How did you get your toe wet in the Airbnb host pool?
I got it wet by my first experience as a guest, and it was actually a kind of a fun story. So I live in Los Angeles, and my daughters and I were going on a cruise, an Alaskan cruise out of Seattle, Washington. Okay. So we had to go drive up to Seattle, which was, I don't remember, 8 hours, 10 hours. And we decided to make a week-long road trip out of it. So we had 2 trips. We had the cruise in Alaska, and then we had the road trip. So we stopped first in San Francisco. That was my very first Airbnb. We got a bottom floor of a condo, and it was brand new, completely remodeled. So we had this beautiful bedroom, a living room, bathroom, and then upstairs was the kitchen. We had full use of it. We were able to park our car in the garage in San Francisco, which is unheard of. The very last day before we go on our cruise, because we also went to Portland, we're going to Seattle, spending one night before our cruise leaves. And the guy messages us something about, "Yeah, we're looking forward to having you stay tomorrow. Blah, blah, blah." Like, tomorrow? I go, "It's tonight." And I look on there and I booked the wrong day. I go, "I'm here with my 2 daughters. We need a place to stay tonight. I booked the wrong day. Is there anything you can do?" He goes, "Yeah, you guys can just come and sleep on the couch." We go, we're like, "Okay, cool." I'm like, "Okay, we're going to sleep on the couch." We go there. My daughters, I don't know how other ones, they were like, I don't know, 18 and 13 and me. We go there, we drive up to the house, we walk in, there's the couch right there, big enough for all 3 of us. We're like, awesome. And right behind the couch is the kitchen. And there's this big area. All these people are there, and they're drinking wine, and they have cheese and crackers and pretzels, and they're smiling and laughing. I'm like, "Hey, who are you guys?" Like, "Oh, we're all renting rooms from this house." So we're like, cool. We sat up there. We hung out with these strangers for like 3 hours. We had the best time. Wow. We slept on the couch. We went to go to the bathroom. We had to walk over boards because you could see the bottom of underneath the house. There was doing construction. We went to hang out outside because it was really cool. And there was like stuff everywhere. And it was one of our best experiences. We met the nicest people. We had a super cheap place. We really didn't care that we were on a couch. That we weren't looking for anything back then. So that was a fun experience too.
I just want to say that as you were explaining this, Phil was like scratching his skin, like he had creepy crawlies crawling all over him.
I was actually mouthing, "Hell no."
Yeah, no, it's that. So my other Airbnb, there's not, I would say the white people are the minority that stay in there. The one I got a 3-bedroom with a game room, and it's really like we did everything nice.
You got a liquor cabinet there?
No, but we do have, every kind of wine glass you could want, beer glasses, and the store's not too far.
You can't supply everything. Yeah.
You can't supply everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're about to say the people that stay there. You were just about to say the people that stay
there. They are every color. My daughter was telling me last night that I say things that are like politically incorrect, and you've got to watch what you say, Mom. So I don't know how to word it, but they're every ethnicity, every color. from every background, and there are some white people, but not necessarily that many. So
Okay, Stacey, but let's just get right to it. Out of the 6 Airbnbs that you own, what is the percentage of Black people that rent those?
I would say the ones in LA are probably 20%.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
Phil,
proportional.
does that track, Phil?
Yeah, I would say so.
Because don't forget,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we have Indian and we have Asian and we have
Yep.
everything. So yeah.
So Phil, are you going to try an Airbnb? We're on this whole kick. We're on this whole kick right now, Stacey, and you'll see this in the
I'm
coming
selling
weeks. We're on this whole streak right now of getting Phil to try white people stuff. So maybe Denise and I will spot him an Airbnb and see if he and his family will go there and stay for a night or two.
So everybody, have y'all seen the movie Barbarian?
I don't think I've seen that movie. Have
It
you?
came out in 2022.
No. What's it about?
2 people book an Airbnb, they get double booked in a house together,
Oh, it's a horror film, isn't it?
and all hell breaks loose.
Oh, yeah.
because
No,
it's an old murder house.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it. No. So Phil, you should.
yeah.
That's not like a real true experience. Just that's a movie. Just so you know. I mean, we've had our share of crappy Airbnbs and even one weird one, but like that's just
Roswell.
That's just fiction, Phil. That's just
So
fiction.
I have a real legitimate beef though. You want me to tell you what my real legitimate beef
Sure,
is?
let's say it.
And so Stacey, this isn't a dig on you or anything like that. It's just that
Go for it.
I blame Uber because now you have a taxi company with no cars. You have Airbnb. You have a hotel with no houses, right? And so the main reason for Airbnb was supposed to be a cheaper alternative to the expensive hotel prices. And legitimately now the Airbnbs cost more than the hotels now.
It's true. We
And
found
there's,
that.
and there's nowhere, and they're all booked as well.
The good ones go fast.
Well, let
That's for
Stacey
sure.
answer this question.
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on what he just said? It's not a question, but what are your thoughts on what he just said?
Okay, so here's my thoughts on this. I think that Airbnb serves a couple of purposes. And yes, you have a good point there, Phil. I like that. If let's say you're going on a trip and you have four to six family members, you got mom and dad and the kids and grandma and grandpa, so there's 6 people. You can't get one hotel for 6 people. You have to get 2 or 3. You can get a 3-bedroom house or a 4-bedroom house all to yourself that's all set up. You have to look. You have to do some research. You have to really look at the listing and ask questions, and that's worth it. Or you can have some cheap kid or someone who thinks they're a cheap kid like me that's going to be going 10 days for our trip somewhere and not going to stay there, and I'm fine renting a room in someone's house because I just need a place to sleep, and that's way cheaper than a hotel even now. And if you don't care about staying in a bedroom and then someone else is in the next bedroom, definitely not for everyone. 100%. There's no way Phil would do that ever.
No, Phil's not going to stay in a house with other people. But when what she said made a good point, Phil, that if you're going to go on a trip with 6 people, it's just so much more economical to rent a house than it is to get 3 separate hotel rooms.
Yeah, if you're bringing Mima and Papa and all the cousins and them, it's a good idea actually to rent a house because then you guys can have your entire whole space rather than 4 different hotel rooms.
Black people don't be traveling like that. We don't have 50 relatives we can even take into a house.
Phil, I've seen.
Come on. We will drive.
I've seen Black
but we
folks'
don't-
family reunions. There are a lot of people, Phil.
I've had them stay in my Airbnbs.
But they're staying at Big Mama's house.
They're all staying at somebody's house.
They're staying at Big Mama's house. That's
Okay.
where the reunion is.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, that is fair.
Fair enough.
But there are some that have stayed at my house, Phil. They're going. One of them was a group of. They were doing some kind of, I think, like volunteer mission work. One of them was a group of people just They were coming to LA, and they all stayed there. And they were going to Disneyland. They were going to Magic Mountain, going to the beaches, going to Malibu, and they wanted a house to come back to for their home base. They stayed for a week. They had a great time, and they loved it. And now in the group that I'm in, a lot of the people will take a house and they will make it so you are going to love staying there. So they put in a pool, they put in a game room, they put in a mini golf, they put in a jacuzzi. So you have they hire a decorator, and it is an epic experience. Some of them set them up for bachelorette parties. And in fact, I just bought a house. I closed about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. and I'm hiring an interior decorator and an exterior decorator. I'm going to make this incredible house.
Wow.
And I was recently in Texas at my daughter's wedding. I got a 4-bedroom Airbnb, and I told my daughter, any of your friends that want to just come and stay here, they can stay for free. So you don't have to worry about, they just have to get there. And we'll
That's
even
great.
pick them up. We got a big van, a big rental car. So just get your flight and we'll pick up all your friends. And I stayed in this little tit city that was like 10 miles from my daughter's house, because I looked in Austin first, which was about 50 miles. And the week was about 7,500. This one for the week it was a 4-bedroom house, was under 1,500. And
Wow.
when I stayed there was about 100 things wrong with it. It was extremely basic, but it was a new house. It was actually kind of comical, but I already knew it because I looked at the pictures. I knew that they had a 32-inch TV in the living room, and I knew that their sofa sat 4 people, and I could see that the dining room table that boasts you have 10 people can stay there sat 6 people, and there's no cushions. But you know what? We didn't care, and we were able to stay there. And I fell in love with the city so much that I bought a house that looks almost exactly like that one.
Wow.
And that's going to be my competition. And I'm making it epic. I'm going to I bought one with a huge backyard. I'm definitely going to do like a huge game room in the back and something in the backyard with mini golf and games and eventually a pool. So
Okay.
people are going to go there. They're not going to want to leave.
I have a question really quick. So it was $1,500 a week, which meant it was roughly around $200 a night. Is your Airbnb that is going to compete with this Airbnb? Will you charge $200 a night for the mini golf, the pool in the back? Like, are you going to do that? Like, because you're talking about these fabulous Airbnbs, and I have yet to see one that's that price, Stacee. So, like, all these people that are going to this convention with you that are putting together Airbnbs that are really top notch, what's their price points? Because I find it hard to believe they're going to be $200 a night. So, you tell me.
That's a great question. The answer is absolutely not. I'm not charging 200 a night. But if they come and stay let's say for example, my Airbnb is $350 a night. They can get that same type of Airbnb in Austin for $600 a night. So they're going to drive 30 miles away to this little city. There's the Colorado River right there. There's a little bit of hiking trails, and there's golf courses. And then if you want to go into Austin, you got to drive 30 miles. So I think I'm going to be the trailblazer in that city. There is another Airbnb in the city where they have the game room and they have the pool, and the reviews are terrible. Everything's broken. This is crappy. There's no wine glasses. Like it's not that clean. There's not enough supplies.
And how much is that one a night?
I don't remember I use dynamic pricing on my Airbnbs. It's a program that takes a look at what's going on in the area. Is it a weekend? Is it a summer? Is there a convention? And it literally just changes the prices for me automatically on all my Airbnbs. I pay for that service. I still look at it and I adjust it a little bit, but it's gonna depend on the day. So like my little studio, one day it might be $175, and then the next day it might be like $89. It's just going to depend, and that goes up and down. And then they have to pay the cleaning fee on top of that, and then the Airbnb fees.
Okay. So let me ask you this, Stacey. And this is again me not trying to dig at you or your business, but I've seen this basically from James and Denise's dilemma with housing inventory. If you have so many, you just talked about a conference you're going to go to. There's going to be thousands of Airbnb owners there. Doesn't that impact the real estate market for people actually trying to buy a house when there's no inventory, when everybody's Airbnb-ing it?
That's a great question. And I don't think it's a simple answer with a yes or no. But if you look at the percentages of Airbnbs based on, for an entire house, based on housing, it is such a small percent. It might be like 0.1% of the housing. So I think that a bigger problem, especially in the state that I live in, is all of the red tape and how hard it is for investors and for companies to build new houses. So if you want to build low cost affordable housing, say in California, you have so many permits that you have to get, so many delays. They make it so difficult. Right. So if they want to build a $100,000 unit, they may have to spend $300,000 on it. So I think the real problem is housing. They did do one thing in California to help it. A lot of the residents don't like it, but they allow you to make like a second house on your property, and you can actually make up to 4. So that helps. So there's a lot of things that can be done for the housing. And I think that it doesn't even begin to make a dent. It's like if you're in the ocean and someone said, someone just threw that pebble in there and now that's going to make all these waves. Well, the person right next to the pebble might feel it a little bit, but I think as a percentage wise, no. But I also think it's a very valid concern. I think there's a huge housing crisis in the United States. I think that, hopefully something will be done so people can get some more affordable housing.
So, I mean,
So
that
it's valid.
question, that question I was going to ask you myself, because you hear it on the news quite a bit. You read articles about how Airbnbs are doing exactly what Phil said. So you think, are those stories just kind of like overblown and exaggerated? It's not, I mean, if you're saying it's a small percentage, I'm surprised. I'm so glad to hear facts, because, I'm reading the same articles Phil's reading, that you're probably reading too, Stacee.
Well, as far as the news, especially if it comes from one side of the aisle to the other, I'll read a story and I'll be like, no way. And then I'll search out the other side and I can't even believe it's the same story. And I think that I wish that the reporters would research and just put facts in there, because I probably could get you some numbers, but it's about 0.1%. And then a lot of the Airbnbs are people, grandma's just renting out a room, or a millennial couple, they're trying to supplement their income. They're renting out one room. Some people go on vacation and they rent their house out. I know you'd never do that, Phil, but it's just something. So that's not always the whole place. A lot of times they're in vacation areas. And a lot of from what I understand, I have nothing to back it up, so I don't know, but I've heard that a lot of the hotels get in there and kind of say bad things about Airbnbs. And they can definitely be done in a bad way, because you don't need to take a test. You don't need to pass anything. You can just slap your house up on Airbnb and you're good to go. And you could be horrible. And then you get these horrible things that happen. Like you hear of cameras inside the Airbnbs. And, I mean, in my opinion, I have cameras on all my Airbnbs. They're fully disclosed. There's one pointing to the front door on the outside, and some of them have a second one over the garage so you can see the driveway. And that's the extent of it. They're not in the backyard. They're not inside the house. But if anybody has a camera inside their house, that should be a criminal offense. That person should be, I mean, that is disgusting. It's horrible. It's an invasion of privacy. And most Airbnb owners, once they have a few, they've been doing it for a while. We literally never check the cameras. It's just if there's some kind of an emergency, the cleaner's like, hey, can we come an hour early? And I'll be like, let me see if they checked out. We don't check the cameras, because if somebody books for 6 people and they book 7, I don't want the stress. Like, oh, they brought one other person.
Right.
If there's no animals, they snuck a little dog in there. I'm not the police. I just I want people to go on vacation and have a nice experience. They don't want to be micromanaged. They want to do what they want to do. I communicate with them. I'll answer all their questions. I check on them. They get a check-in message. They get a check-out message.
Right.
How's everything going? But, we like to leave them alone. And the camera thing is just criminal. That is disgusting that anybody would do that.
Yeah, I read a report. It was something like 35,000 cameras or something like that have been reported to Airbnb since 2013. Which, on one hand, it's like, okay, that's 11 years. And how many Airbnbs are there? It doesn't seem like a lot, but 35,000 cases is, I mean, there are a lot of shady, pervy people out there, I guess.
Yeah. You kind of answered this question already, though, for me, but is there certain, do you have to disclose to like an HOA that you're going to be using the house for Airbnb, or can you just put it up? Because I know with Uber, you have your insurance, your deal with insurance, you have to ask the person who's renting a car or getting the car or whatever. They have to list that, hey, you're using this for Uber or whatever. Is there certain regulations or red tape that you have to cut or have to adjust to when you're deciding on buying a house, or some communities may even allow Airbnb?
100%. That is such a great question, because I actually know people that have bought a house for Airbnb, didn't do the research, and then they couldn't Airbnb it. So you have HOA rules, you have city rules, you have so for example, in Los Angeles, where I live, if you're in most of Los Angeles County, Airbnb is illegal unless you get a permit, and getting a permit is a nightmare. So you have to do 30-day plus. So there's something else called midterm rentals where it's 30 days plus. Those are a lot of traveling nurses, traveling doctors. It could be, people that are trying out an area. They just want to live there, and a lot of insurance claims. So somebody's house burned down and now they got to stay somewhere and they need a furnished place. So but there's a lot of areas that they are absolutely illegal.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that are investing in Airbnbs, they're going to do it in a vacation area. It's a mountain town. People are going for vacation. They want a cabin place. And for example, like even in like where Disneyland is, there's Airbnbs are not allowed right there. You can't do under 30 days. So you have to go outside of that area. But that's the first thing that, as an investor, that you need to check. I would never buy an Airbnb in a condo because they can change the HOA, and I probably wouldn't even want to buy one in an HOA area unless I had a backup plan. Like I can rent it out, I can move there. But yeah, as an investor, as a real estate investor, you always want to have a plan B and a plan C because plan A doesn't always work. And I've had to pivot multiple times.
Really quick. So you have Airbnbs that are like you just bought one in Texas. Tell me what the first step is. Like, how do you go about to find out what the stipulations are in that area for the Airbnb? So you bought this house in Texas, but before you bought it to Airbnb, what was the first thing you did? Did you call the city planner's office? Like, how do you get that information?
Yeah, you can call the city planner. You can Google it. Most big cities, you need a permit. And if you're going to buy and you need some kind of a permit, those are usually pretty good too because they've already gone through the regulations. So if somebody's thinking of buying a home to Airbnb to make a few extra bucks, you definitely want to do that research first because you want to pick your area. And there's a lot of criteria on picking your area. So you want to, if you want to do it like, oh, it's a vacation home, then pick an area that you want, or it's near someone that I know, or I just want to make the most money. You probably want an area that's got a lot of travel, but it could also be saturated. And if it's a saturated area, you gotta make it way better than anything else. Right. And it's a tough market right now. If you're not paying cash, we got high interest rates. You have a lot of bad actors out there. I mean, a lot of people are like someone like Phil. He'll probably never stay in an Airbnb, and it's not because they're bad. It's because he's heard bad stories. Those few bad stories are true. There's some gross operators out there because they can anyone can do it. So yeah, go do your research.
Yeah, and so you're right about me not ever staying at Airbnb. Although I will stay at a themed Airbnb.
Oh, you would? So you like Pirates of the Caribbean and Star Wars and stuff like that?
There's an X-Men themed mansion in, I think, New York. Like the Xavier mansion.
Yeah.
I would stay in a themed Airbnb. So, Stacee, do you have any like themed Airbnbs? If not, I have a perfect business plan for you. You need to do a minimalist, but do it as like a themed, but it's like ghetto. So like have everything like automatic, like low quality, but that's the theme. You're staying in the slums.
But Phil, how's she gonna make any money? Nobody wants to stay in a place where there's like the bed's broken.
Have you seen Kanye West's clothes?
Babe,
that stuff costs $700 and it's a hobo clothes. So you charge a premium price. So you make rich people live in the slums and they have to pay a premium price for it.
He's kind of onto something because you did do the Compton tour when we lived in LA.
I did do the Compton tour.
Yeah.
We're gonna be collabing after this. I love it, Phil. I absolutely love it.
Any thoughts, Stacee, on all that?
You know what? If we did it right, we would make a killing. But yeah, no, he's right. The theme things are good. Yeah.
There was. I have to tell you, in our travels, we ended up going. I don't know if anyone have you guys seen the movie Twilight?
Really?
Oh God, have you seen it? You're a millennial. You've seen it, right?
Denise.
Okay, you've seen it, right? No.
Yes. I was forced to see it by my girlfriend at the time.
Okay.
Did I enjoy it?
No. Phil was still in diapers and it's a rite of passage.
No.
Hold on. Okay, he did see it. He said he was forced to see it. Okay. So the girl Bella, she lived in a house in Forks, Washington. It's not really okay. That house has turned into an Airbnb. We went to the house. They charge something astronomical, like $700 a night, which I guess isn't astronomical. But this place is in the middle of nowhere, and there is no. But there's a Forks, Washington, but that's not where this house is located. And we went and took pictures in front of the house where it says don't take pictures. But anyway, that house is they left it exactly the same. So the production company did not change anything in the house, and they just Airbnb that house as the Twilight house, and they make good money in the middle of nowhere.
Like I would stay. So like Stacee, if you want to market to Black people, what you got to do. Hold on, listen. What you got to do, you got to look at all of the famous black TV shows. So the Fresh Prince house. Obviously, the house probably available, but something like that, or even like the Martin apartment.
Oh, Martin apartment.
Making it look like that. Or iconic like TV shows. I know there's a friend style Airbnb, and I don't even think you even need the license from them.
No, you're just copying the design.
You don't.
Perfect. I'm telling you, themed ones are there. I would stay in those, but not like a regular person's house. I don't know roommates either. Get out of here.
Okay, I think I might partner with you because this is, I mean, that's going to tap into a whole new market, and if it's done the right way, that's epic. Yeah, I love it.
All right, so I have a question for you, and we've mentioned this. We've sort of been skipping around it, but okay. So clearly, you are an anomaly when it comes to hosts and being you're a super host. So my question is this: when you go to these conventions or when you confer with other super hosts, do you all sort of talk about things that Airbnb could do better or what other hosts can do better? Do you try and coach up those hosts that that you've identified, like, okay, these guys are kind of dropping the ball on their business model or how they're hosting people or whatever? Is there sort of an effort or a current to, sort of rise all boats? Let all ships rise in terms of super hosts? Like, how does that work?
So that you actually worded that perfect. Yeah, we are a huge community. When you join the community, you pay a whole bunch of money, and then there's classes. It's just like an online class.
Oh wow, okay.
And it's hours. You get whatever subjects you want. I've learned because I did the classes, I was just kind of half-assing it, but then I ended up doing things the right way. Teach you how to automate customer service, design, everything, marketing, your direct booking website in case Airbnb kicks you off, all kinds of things. And then a lot of us collaborate with each other. We kind of invest with each other. I have my own, and then I manage people's, and I'm a little bit full. Like I can't really take on anything else. And I've had people that have asked me. So I've just been doing just kind of like we'll do like an hour call and charge them for an hour of my time and help them out. And I've actually I want to say I've helped maybe at least 20 people with starting their Airbnbs, because it's not that hard. You can automate it, and you just need the right people. You have to have the right attitude where this is a hospitality customer service business. I just really kind of do everything in the best way. And I would say 95% of us are there, because as soon as we get a new listing, we have a private Facebook group. Somebody puts their listing on there, and they're incredible. Like, people are buying land and building their own Airbnbs. I read this book called Extreme Hospitality, where it was about a guy that opened up a restaurant in New York. I think it was like 11 Madison Way. And he just went above and beyond, and just having that thought process with everything that I do. Right. And then there's a guy on YouTube that I follow who I get so much value on, Alex Hormozi. He's a business guy, and he had a couple of videos on what to do if the customers are upset about something. And I've literally had I listened to one of his videos that I have downloaded and saved that I watched over. Listened to it one day. The next day, I had an upset customer in my other business, and I did exactly what he said, like to the T. I tailored it to my business. And by the end of the conversation, with me telling them I'm going to do everything for them, they were like, I'm sorry I made such a big deal about it. It's not a big deal. Please don't give us any money back.
Psychology.
Wow,
don't give us any money back. I mean, so what Alex Hormozi says, I love this. He goes, you get in the angry boat with them, and you get angrier, because you can't say like, yeah, that's no big deal. You're like, I can't believe that happened. I was just awful. I don't really say anyone's complaint is minor. 99% of the people, if they're complaining about something, they are upset about it, and you need to acknowledge it, make a big deal about it, and fix it immediately. And it's so rare. So if you lose a few bucks, you just do it, because it's good customer service. You can't do calm down. If they're mad, you got to get madder. And I learned that from Alex Hormozi, some random guy on YouTube.
That's good. So, well, Alex Hormozi is not a random guy.
I know, but I don't know him.
He's good, but
I don't know, but I've learned so much from him. Because of watching his videos, I opened my own company because I wanted my own business. I've never had my own company with employees and stuff. And he's the reason I did that. And I just go to his playbook. He's got, $100 million companies, and I got a little baby company, but it's all the same principle.
No, baby company. Okay, so everybody's probably asking this in the chat. How much was your initial investment, right? And what are you pulling every month with all of your properties?
Well, so I bought all my properties over the last, I don't know, 25 years.
Well, what your first Airbnb investment? How much did you spend on that one?
Well, my first one was renting the house out. So this was a house in LA. I paid $245,000 for the house. It's a 3-bedroom house. So I mean, so so right now on that one, I have a 3-bedroom long-term rental that has market rates, and the guys that rent the house they are really nice to the Airbnb people. If they have a problem with the Wi-Fi or anything, they'll come in. If you need anything, let me know. They're just cool guys. So the Airbnb, which is the converted garage, averages about $3,000 a month for that garage.
Okay.
So that brings in a lot of money. I didn't get those numbers prepared, so I don't have an exact number for you.
Yeah.
Because everybody says it's super easy, but I mean, you got to have some capital to put in there, because I can't just go buy an extra house. I can't even fix my plumbing in my house now. You know what I'm saying? So also with that, how do you handle major repairs? Like, oh, I need to repipe the house, or I need to replace the roof. Is this something, does Airbnb help you with any of that, or is that all on your shoulders?
Yeah, I was going to ask you so do you sort of aim for newer construction when you're purchasing with an Airbnb, like to use it as an Airbnb, or are you sort of rehabbing existing homes?
A little bit of both. I've done both. So as an investor, actually, I want to jump back to Phil's question. Let's say you don't have any money, but you just want to get into Airbnb and you want to do it. There's a couple ways to do it. One of them, like for me, I hire people. So if somebody wants to come and be my assistant, like for example, my daughter right now is my assistant. She's a co-host. She logs into my platforms where they do the dynamic pricing. She helps me with the cleaners get messages with the supplies. So she's learning how to do everything, and I'm paying her. So you could work for somebody and you want to learn the ropes. You could take a class, and probably everybody in my class is hiring people. So you would just do it like that. You could also do something in the business. If you don't have a regular job, or you want to do something, you could become like the handyman. You could become the cleaner. You could learn the computer part of it. So you can partner with somebody. You could find somebody that's a doctor or a financial advisor, and they don't have any time, but they have a lot of money. So say, hey, I found this house. Here's the spreadsheet. Here's the numbers. Here's how it works. You put up the money. I'll do all the work. You don't have to do anything. And then we're partners. And you figure out what percentage, and you do all the work, all the running around, all the legwork. You do the design. When the furniture comes in, you put it together. You message the guests. You manage it. And you can start basically doing that with somebody else. Or
that's a great idea, actually, for anybody who wants to get into an Airbnb. That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, it's like something you don't even think about.
Right,
that's the way to start. Yeah, and you can get. I mean, you can't walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, mentor me." Like, somebody's going to tell me I'm a little busy. I'm not going to just mentor some random person. But you could also work for somebody for free. Somebody that you really admire, they're doing exactly what you want to do. Say, hey, let me work for you for a month for free. Show you I'm a go-getter. Show you my value. And then at the end of the month, if you like me, maybe you can hire me and I can learn something. We could be like help me out, I'll help you out. Or, I'd like maybe work for some money. But to get somebody to help with the messaging, and then they can teach you things along the way. Yeah. That's a really good way to get. Or you could just do what I did. I literally took a class, and thank goodness I did it, because I did so much stuff the right way. But to answer your question, I'm pretty busy. This last house that I bought this month is a 2019 build, so it's pretty new. Yeah. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. So there's not a lot of work to do. All the bedrooms were carpeted, so I'm changing out the flooring, because you don't want to have a carpet with a rental. No, yeah. Totally. But as an investor, okay, so I know I'm jumping around, guys.
No, that's okay. You're a numbers person. So you're talking about this house. I think this would answer Phil's question. When do you don't have to give your numbers away, but you bought this house for a certain amount. In your head, I know that you already have an idea of when this house is going to start making you money from the Airbnb. In this particular 2019 new build home, when do you see you start making money from this house? Will it be 6 months, a year, 2 years?
We should be ready to roll about November, and we're in August, so about 3 months.
Dang.
During
Wait,
the
you're going to
yeah.
start making money. You will start making money already in 3 months.
Well, because it should be done by then.
No, but I'm saying, when do you see a profit? Like, when do you start seeing a profit for the house? So it goes back to Phil's question. So you bought this house for a certain amount. It's a 2019 build. When in your head, because you're a numbers person, will this house start generating revenue for you? Will it be 6 months, a year, 2 years?
4 months.
Oh my God, Stacee, that's incredible. But that's not the norm, right? Like, that's not the norm.
Okay, so because of the position that I'm in with all the houses that I bought, I took one of my houses in Las Vegas during the pandemic, and I took another one, and the rates went way down. So I cashed out, refinanced my rental houses, still made money on them, and I got so much money out that I bought 5 more houses, and then I still had some money left over, and then I sold one of my houses, but I still had money left over, and I've been looking for a house to buy for 2 years. So when I bought this house, I think I got it for about $385, which is amazing because it's in the middle of nowhere. I was able to pay cash for it. So I don't have any mortgage. There's not really a lot of stress. I have taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. So when you buy a house, what you want to do is you want to figure your monthly income. You want to figure your taxes. You want to figure your insurance. You want to figure your repairs. And you might do, like, depending on the year of the house, 1 to 3%. I'd say 1 to 5% of your monthly income for repairs.
Okay, so that answers Phil's question. So if there's a repair, you already have that money set aside for each house.
Yes.
Because that was one of his questions. Like, what do you do if there's a water? So you probably have, I'm giving this away because you did tell me. But you did say, okay, I'm going to give it away. Okay. But
we did not sign an NDA, Stacee. Sorry. Here we go.
No. You did say that each house, I'm not giving away a dollar amount, but each house you have allocated a bank account for repairs. Am I correct?
So just to make my taxes easier, I have a separate bank account for each house.
Okay.
And then at the end, and I do a spreadsheet of income and expenses, and then I just give it to my CPA at the end of the year. But if you're an investor, if you have, let's say you have $30,000 and you can get a house that you want to rent or Airbnb or any kind of investment, and you can get $25,000 down, you probably don't want to do that. You don't want to do every last penny. So the water heater breaks and now you're stuck.
Yeah.
So as an investor, you want money aside for CapEx, which is the big things. That's the heating, the air conditioning, the roof. Depending on the year build, you might do 2%, 3%, 5%. You need to put that aside.
Of the total price of the house.
No, of the income of the rent. So,
okay.
Let's say a long-term rental, you have to figure your monthly expenses. I'm going to bring in $2,000 a month. Okay. And then my note, let's say my mortgage is $800 a month. And then I'm going to do, of the 2,000, 2% for CapEx, 2% for repairs and maintenance. You need to figure vacancy. I always figure property management for a long-term rental, even though I manage them, so that I have the option someday to turn it over and say, you know what, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Here's the property management. And then there's no point, if you're an investor, to make money to buy something and lose money on it. So that's kind of the way things are right now with these prices. It's really hard to find something. It's not like back in the day where you could just, pick anything.
Yeah.
Stacee, are you married? Are you married, Stacee?
I mean, wait, you're married. Why are you asking me like that? You're so cute, Phil.
Somebody get Lucia. Get Lucia on the line. I mean, we need an intervention quick.
If you want another husband, or I'm just saying.
Second husband? Yeah. She's not Mormon, Phil. Oh.
If your wife is cool, we could bring her along too.
She'd be wonderful.
There you go. There you go. So to answer your question, I'm engaged. So it's
congratulations.
Yeah.
But can you fight
though? Your family's getting married.
But can you fight though?
No, but he can fix everything. He can fix things. Phil, so you're going to be a good. Are you a fighter?
Phil, he's got one on you, Phil. He can fix everything. He might not be able to fight, but he could fix everything. I pick a fixer too, Stacee.
Can't fix these knuckles.
Oh my Lord.
I don't know. There's something about a tough guy.
That's awesome. Do you have a question for Stacee?
Generally speaking, so obviously, there are, again, you're sort of in your own sort of stratosphere, I guess, of, Airbnb owners. I know that you go on the site and you see all these sort of shady owners and everything. Do you see that as competition? Is that just noise? And like, how do you think there's ever going to be a point where, like, in my personal view, you know this already, you've listened to the show, I feel like Airbnb has expanded so much that it just takes the average user so much time to sift through the garbage to find the good owners like yourself. Do you ever see it sort of shrinking? Like, do you see it coming back to sort of a manageable level that it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago?
I doubt it. I think the Pandora's box, I think it's out of, I just think but I think that if you're going to stay in an Airbnb, when I go to an Airbnb, I will spend an hour or so. If you want to go to the Hilton and you know what you're going to get, go to the Hilton.
Yeah.
There's definitely, I'm not one of those people that says Airbnbs are the best, everyone should stay there, or hotels are the best. I think there's a place for both. Okay. And in fact, this conference that I'm going to, I'm staying in the hotel because I want to be right there with all of the people. And this group of people, man, we're up till 2 a.m. drinking and dancing and partying after all the conferences. And they're super fun. And nice. Real estate investors are fun people, more fun than insurance agents. So that's a cool part about investing too, is the people. I mean, they're smart. We don't complain about all the things that everyone else complains. We take responsibility for ourselves. A lot of us, there's a lot of really philanthropic people. They take their money and they give back to the community. They give back to their churches or their temples. So it's a good group of people. We just try to do the right thing as a group, and we love to have fun. So I don't even know what the question was. I think I went off on a tangent.
No, you think you answered it, but I have a question for you. So you answered it, but I do have a question for you. Okay, so do you get discouraged at all? It's almost in line, very similar to James's question, but do you ever get discouraged with the crappy Airbnbers out there? Because, I mean, we've experienced it, obviously. So you charge, I'm making this up, $200 a night for your beautiful Airbnb. And the guy who's 2 miles down the road is charging $200 a night for his crappy Airbnb, which looks decent in photos. But once you get there, it's like all revealed. Like there's one pot, there's only 3 forks. I mean, that's stuff that they don't show you in photos. The shower head doesn't have any water pressure, stuff like that. So my feeling is that guy is always going to get a rental. He always will. He's not going to go out of business.
Just from an inventory standpoint.
100%, yes. Yeah. Just from an inventory standpoint. So Stacee, is that frustrating to you since you take so much pride in what you do?
I don't want to spend 1 second of energy or frustration on this random guy that I don't know that does a crappy job. The one thing I love about Airbnb is the reviews. You can find out almost everything by looking through and reading the reviews. Like this last place that I stayed in, I knew it was going to be basic. I could see from the pictures. I was just trying to be a little bit cheap and find something near my kid. There was nothing else in the area. But it was pretty clear. And I reading through the comments, we got there. The first thing we had to do is I had to go to the store and I had to buy a broom and a mop and cleaning supplies. He left no cleaning supplies. We were there for a week. It was crazy. And then I had
that didn't bother you. You weren't like,
no, because I knew, I expected it. The price was so low, under $1,500 for a week for a 4-bedroom house. I don't have no problem going and spending. I even left him a 5-star review. And because there wasn't anything that you couldn't tell. The guy didn't know.
He didn't oversell it.
No. And I have a couple of my Airbnbs have some issues. One of them, in order to get there, you have to drive through this road that's completely torn up with potholes. That's described twice, 3 times. Another one, you used to have to park across the street on a hill facing up. That was in every description. It was on the opening message. Now they can park in the driveway. But if there's anything negative, anything that's an issue, if somebody's thinking about doing an Airbnb, if you're going to use a wide angle lens, don't make the rooms look bigger than they actually are. Describe every little thing. If there's something at all, like one of my Airbnbs is in the mountains and there's these beautiful wild peacocks, but they sound like cats and they're kind of noisy. Occasionally people will complain. I put that in there, like disclose everything. And then, and I don't tell people like, I'm going to give you all these things when you get there. And then I just do a little bit more. whatever I'm going to give someone, they're like, I'll be there so I'm going to be there in 20 minutes. I'll be there with like in 30 minutes and I'm 10 minutes early, or I'm going to do this for you. And I do a little bit more, like whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be that much. Like literally the bar is just set so low. So these people that have the bad Airbnbs, it's pretty easy to figure it out. You can tell when somebody takes pride in what they're doing. You can tell by the description, and you want to read through the whole description. I know people that have gone to an Airbnb, they thought they were getting the whole place, and they get a room in someone's house, and that's not what they signed up for. And then they got to call Phil to get a little bit of therapy. Like, dude, talk me through this. What do I do? Read through the description, look at all the photos. Getting an Airbnb is more work than a hotel. And I'm definitely not even saying it's better in every situation. You want a hotel? Go get a hotel. Because you're going to get some owners, not in our group, but I'm in another Airbnb group that's just like an open Airbnb host group. And they're complaining like, we have makeup towels and somebody took my white towel and wiped off their makeup and now it's ruined and I can't use it. And I'm thinking like, why would you put that on? Go buy a new towel. Why would you put this on Facebook? People are on vacation. And then another thing that I do at the end of the stay, I have a message to the guests that says, thank you for staying. I'm kind of paraphrasing. Great news. We have no checkout rules. You don't have to clean. You're on vacation. And then the only thing I do is say, you don't have to make the bed. We're going to wash the sheets. If there's dirty towels, you can leave them on the ground. Don't worry about the dishes. And when I put a message like that, 95% of the people leave it spotless. And the few people that leave it messy, we just clean up after them. They're on vacation.
That's that reverse psychology.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah,
but it's true.
so
have you
smart.
seen some of the TikToks or the checklists that mop the floors and start the laundry and the people are like they're getting their
I'm not doing
3-year-old
that.
and their
I'm not doing
baby.
that.
Yeah, we
No,
don't do
I
that.
will. I will strip the beds and strip the towels, but
ridiculous.
I am not. I paid for a cleaning fee. Do not ask me to clean that place. I'm not doing it.
It's ridiculous. And I have to pay my cleaners a lot of money, and I have to spend so much money on cleaning that my cleaning fee never reflects the full cleaning fee because they complain about it so much. So let's say I'm charging a $200 cleaning fee. I'm probably paying the cleaner $250. On one of my Airbnbs, it's the little studio. The turns are so quick and I live a mile away. I pay the full cleaning fee to the cleaner, and I'm the one that does the laundry. And I have like 6 sets of everything in a bin, and I just drop off the old one, pick up the new one. Because if I had to pay the cleaner that, I'm going to lose money, and it's actually not a big deal. But no, the cleaning fee thing is, people complain about it, but that's because the hosts are making them clean. And I get it, and like, you don't want anyone to leave food out and leave trash out. But as a host, you need to get in there that day in case they left food or trash out so you don't get bugs. Right. And I even have one that it's a house, people will run it for a week, or all of them, either myself or I pay someone to bring the trash cans in and out. I would never ask a guest to bring the cans up or down. And I've stayed at them where they ask me to do it, and I don't really mind, but some people are going to mind, and they're on vacation. It's hospitality. And if it's not done right, it makes the whole Airbnb look terrible. But it's like anything else. You can have a good or bad person anywhere. You can go to the market and the checker's like, hey, how you doing today? Oh, cute top. And the next one's like, credit card. It's just like anything else.
Totally.
Stacey,
Hey, James.
I have one last idea.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Oh, good. I love this.
And this will work especially in LA. Okay? You need to have an Airbnb that's a podcast house.
A podcast house.
So each room is a different podcast set.
Ooh, interesting.
Right? And your guests can go record their podcast there. Right?
Huh.
And obviously there's beds and stuff.
But Phil, if they're stealing air conditioners, there's not going to be a single microphone left at the end of a stay.
Good question.
We got to work through some kinks here.
But I think that's a really good idea, though.
I don't disagree. There should be a work-live space for podcasters, especially in big cities like LA.
Yeah, and Austin. Yeah.
Oh, in Austin for sure. Did you have another question?
I do. One last question for me, and that is, you mentioned it earlier, and I know one of the hooks for VRBO is they always say in their commercials that they actually, when they say that you are staying in a place and you have the whole place to yourself, they actually mean it. On Airbnb, that's not always the case. Denise and I have gotten burned a couple times when it wasn't even in the description. What would you, from a user standpoint, how would you advise somebody like me who's going through Airbnb to really sort of check to make sure if we want the whole house to ourselves, are we going to get it? And is VRBO a serious competitor to Airbnb?
I don't think they're much of a competitor because we don't get the traffic, and their fees are higher.
Yeah.
But they are the whole house. I think if you want to stay in a whole house, we have to check a box as the owner saying whole house, shared house. But you know what? If you have any questions, I would just message the host. Hey, just want to confirm this is the whole house. We have access to everything. There's no problem just messaging. I actually like when people message me.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like, I Google everything, but I think there's something called Bing. So Verbo is like Bing. Like I know it's there. Some people use it.
Oh, interesting.
But it's just
comparison.
Yeah. So it's basically just you go where the people are. It's almost, so that's where the traffic is. You're paying for the traffic. But eventually, if you are, I really do this on the side. This is just not my main job, my main business. So I have everything automated. I have help. And I try, and every time I say I'm not going to do another one, somebody will say like, hey, can you manage mine? And I kind of get another one, but I'm really trying to scale it down. I'm not very good at it, but it's kind of just.
I think you're good at it. I think you're good at it.
I do too.
She meant she's not good at the scaling down part. Yeah. I was going to say, in addition to doing laundry for the Airbnb a mile down the street and doing a doggy daycare and being an insurance agent part-time and all this other, I mean, you certainly have a lot of bases covered. I wish I had whatever's in your coffee.
Oh my God. Do you have, how many hours a night do you sleep? I'm just curious.
Oh, like 8. I need my sleep.
You get a full 8 hours?
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
Most of the time.
It's got to be
Most
like
of the time.
minute her head hits the pillow, she's got to pass out.
And I usually wake up to a dog right next to me. I recently got a dog that likes to sleep in bed with me. A little 71-pound puppy.
A little one.
Well, you were fostering, right? Like I did mention that you fostered. Was I wrong on
Yeah,
that?
so I work with a company. It's a nonprofit that rescues the dogs from this one animal shelter, that very high kill shelter. So I'll foster them. We do have a daycare that's in my house. We're doing mostly drop-ins. But so I just said the dogs have to be friendly, and I won't take any puppies because they chew everything up and they go to the bathroom everywhere. And I'm just redoing my house. So they begged me to take this puppy, and I'm like, no puppies. And like, we don't have anyone. And I took the puppy. We fell in love.
Of
so
course.
Now his name is Bruno Mars. So Bruno Mars is my boy.
That's awesome.
I actually don't know how you have even a second to volunteer your time. I don't know how you do this, and now you have a dog. It's incredible, really. I'm
already home.
Feel so lazy though. Like don't you feel lazy? Like listening to everything Stacee does. Like we don't accomplish anything in a day.
No. I was planning on going home and watching football after this. Now I feel shame.
I don't even think, Stacee, do you even have a TV in your house? Like there is no time for TV, is there?
I'm addicted to YouTube.
Nice.
Addicted.
Wow.
There's a TV. So Brian, my fiance, loves to like pick out shows and watch. So we'll do our little shows together. I don't think I ever watched TV by myself.
Okay, well, I was going to add that we are certainly grateful that you do watch YouTube, because we have loved all of your comments on our channel ever since its inception. It's been so nice to have you with us today, to see your face, to hear your voice, hear your story. And, I got to say, there was a little persuasion inside me that was happening with the whole Airbnb thing. I think we might give it another shot. And it's just going to take a little more time to find the places we want in the cities that we love.
I agree.
Send me the listing. I'll look at it. I'll give you my critique.
Okay.
And you'll get a lot of critique from me, good and bad. And then when my house is done, that's near Austin, I'm gonna invite you to come and stay as a guest if you're in the area. And if you're not, I won't charge you. And you can go through it. You can critique it, and then you can be like, it would be really nice if you had that, or this was great, or this was bad. But my goal is for you to say like, we were blown away. This is absolutely incredible. We can't believe all of the little things that you thought of every time we turned around and we thought of something we didn't know we needed. It was there. That is amazing. And the design, unbelievable. Because I hired a designer.
I think that you'll probably be very successful at making us quite happy, because I don't think that we really ask for much. We just ask for the basics, and it seems like you go above and beyond already. So I think staying at your Airbnb near Austin, would bring us lots of joy.
Yeah, and it's 4 bedrooms, so you can bring your whole family, your girls, their boyfriends, their friends. Phil and his wife. Oh, never mind. I didn't pay him.
I'm gonna be with you, Stacey. What you talking about?
That's awesome.
You, me, and Ryan. We good.
Wait, what's your wife's name?
Her name is Lucia.
Okay, and Lucia's my girl. I haven't even met her. She's my girl.
Cults get started.
This is how cults get started.
Oh, we're bringing you in. We're bringing you in, James and Denise.
I don't know. I'm an independent thinker.
No, you're not. You're a sucker. You're a sucker for a pretty girl and a nice place to stay. Stop
That's
it.
true. That's how I ended up with
Look, he's
you.
got a pretty girl.
That's so sweet. This really was a great episode because you talked about so many things about Airbnbs, especially, I mean, just I really want to know about how you felt with competition, this and that, and just how you started the first one. So really, this was just so informative, Stacey. I mean, we could probably go for another hour, but we got to stop it at some point.
Yeah. And thank you for your
guys are
generous
awesome.
offer.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I'm serious. I'll let you know when it's done. I'll send you the listing, and if you look at it and you're like, I'm not staying there, then we're all good.
I don't think that's going to happen. I
don't think so either.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us again. And thank you for your support as always. We look forward to seeing you soon outside of Austin, Texas. We really appreciate you being with us today, Stacey.
Congratulations on all your success. You are killing it. You're working really hard. I was telling Denise this before, that when I first started listening to you, I was loving it, but I was a little bummed because I know most podcasts give up pretty quick when they see how much work it is. And I'm so happy you stuck with it and you take us with you to all these incredible places and you share your family with us and all of your experiences, and you have some cool guests, and you brought Phil in. So we got a little bit of back and forth now. So amazing job. And if anybody's watching this and they're not subscribed and liking, there's something wrong with you. So let's get that subscribe button hit.
Twice.
And
I love her. I love her. We're just going to bring her back for the tops and tails of every episode.
We are. That's awesome. We'll add Stacey to the show too. So thank you so much for your kind words. That is really, really special. It means a lot to us, like, honestly. So thank you. We just enjoyed having you. So I think that's going to wrap it up.
That is going to wrap it up. Let's do it.
Empty nest, full tank.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.